I go they shout out to. Baba God, I thank you.
Fresh out using updates.com.
Can't obey it.
Fresh out from musicupdates.com.
Yeah. Make I some ram say me now for force me the Ghana beko baby. Kai. Madam for be your friend the call me ready. Yeah. And someone me kind and move I see and call me one you mean. What's the fine I make Jimmy Dean call me Yenny. Just believe it, don't you ever give up. When I so next will say Martin Luther cry. Yeah, we have to brother man for speed up. Baby, I will feel my man how will cry. Yeah, God is in control. Don't you let your fears pull you down. And run I mean any that's all yes, still I mean I knew that I deserve the crown. Shebi be same guys where they in the hate now they wanna share my story. Shebi I be same guy where them on the red now they want follow me jolly. Yeah. Shebi I be same guy where they been the bone now they yell call me honey. But in all my doing so I still give you God the glory. I want me single. Baba God I thank you. Still I go they shout out to. Baba God I thank you.
Fresh out from musicupdates.com.
Can't obey it. One more with the Mungwas never. Okisto in pipe with Mississika. Make you seek for God in favor. BBJ, what you just pray to God in heaven. He go wipe away your sorrows. Make you come to him with all your burdens. And I will pray a better day tomorrow. You the fight for that dinero, hold up. On one more cast a sack and never do it. Me break it through the door was like a movie. The chairman folk I cried, they said I fell off. Since I'm an enemy, I done in the group. Yeah, can't sack till I die. Nobody can ever pull me down. And man, I mean, any that's so yes, still I mean, I knew that I deserved the crown. Shebi be same guys where they in the hate now they wanna share my story. Shebi I be same guy where them on the red now they want follow me jolly. Shebi I be same guy where they in the bone now they girl call me honey. But in all my doing so I still give you God the glory. I want me single.
Yes.
Baba God I thank you.
This is Eon3 Radio, the only online radio station in Ackah, Ghana. If you're watching me live on Facebook, on Instagram, this is Eon3 Radio. My name is Stephen Blessing Ackah. So if you're watching me live on Facebook, you just need internet to tune in. It's Eon3 Radio. Today we are going to talk about entrepreneurship. Not just entrepreneurship in Ghana, but entrepreneurship in Ghana, Africa, and across the globe. I have somebody very important here right now with me, and she's going to introduce herself in some few minutes to come, and I'm sure viewers or people listening to us are going to enjoy the best show today. This is Eon3 Radio. Madam Tina, good afternoon. Thank you very much. You've been in Ghana for some time now. How do you see Ghana? Thank you very much. Are you a Ghanaian?
Yes.
So why London?
Long story. Sometimes you're born somewhere and you're made somewhere else. So London is my home. It's been my home for the past 18 years. So yeah.
Wow. So your parents are Ghanaian.
Yes.
You've schooled in Ghanaian.
Yes.
In Ghana.
Yes.
Then you decided to go back to the UK.
Yes.
All right. So you're staying in Ghana and now living in the UK. What's the difference?
Well, not necessarily much difference. There are, areas or indicators that obviously create differences. However, in terms of problems that we're facing, whether in the economy, whether in the education system, women affairs, entrepreneurship, business, you see parallels, irrespective of which economy or which part of the world you're looking at. They're more or less similar. So I'm seeing a similar trend.
All right. So if you're watching us live on Facebook and on Instagram, this Eon3 Radio. We have Madam Tina Allton from the UK. She's the WBAF High Commissioner to Ghana. For those that don't know, WBAF is World Business Angel Investment Forum. Their work is mostly to connect businesses or investment in Africa. And we are fortunate we are very happy to have Madam Tina Allton here. She came to Ghana, I think 3 days ago, and we are very happy. We've had a lot of opportunities in Ghana. A lot of businesses in Ghana have shown interest on the possibility of working with her. Today we want to listen to her, why she's as a high commissioner, what is your role, and also what do you see the future in Ghana, between Ghana and the WBF. But starting from here, let's start from women, because I know people are always talking about women empowerment.
Yeah.
I know you run a very good program in the UK and across the globe on women empowerment. Before you go into that, can you tell us something small about yourself?
Yes, so as I said earlier on, I was born in Ghana, bred in Ghana. I went to Cape Coast University, and I live in London, which is where my home is. I'm a mom. I've got 4 kids. I've been in business for 18 years, seriously, probably like the last 13 years. And what else have I left out? Basically, I'm a mom entrepreneur, and it's a balancing act, because there really is no balance. Anything you focus on expands. So if it's something to do with the kids that you're dealing with, then obviously that becomes the focus. If it's business that you're dealing with, that becomes the focus. So it's a case of trying to manage yourself, your energy, your time, to make sure that you're being effective in whichever area that you're dealing with.
All right. So why do you want to support Ghanaian women?
Well, I'm a Ghanaian woman, or British woman, but either way, I am one. And in my role with the WBF, essentially as a Ghanaian, my heart obviously is for supporting women in business, and women across the globe. But also, I felt that this is my opportunity to be able to come back home and, rather than just create an impact across the pond, if you will, that we also have the opportunity to be able to support the women back home. And so this is my opportunity, my time to be able to pay back, give back, and make a difference. Because even before I left for London, I had women here who supported me and helped me and were part of shaping who I have become. So.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Yes, but there's an issue here now. Poverty is one of the key things in Ghana and across Africa. And most often developed countries want to come to Africa to in a way of supporting us. But in the long term, we see them rather supporting themselves rather supporting us. What is a key distance with what you want to do to support women? We want to understand that key distance. Is it going to be the same thing, or there's a difference here now?
Well, God forbid, no. First of all, I would say poverty exists everywhere. And sometimes poverty is not necessarily to do with money, right? It's usually, or can be, not recognizing what you've got. So you might be a woman or man, you know how to bake, how to sew, how to be creative. But if you're not utilizing that, then you might think, oh, because I don't have a job or corporate job or whatever it is, that I'm stuck in poverty. But actually, it's quite the opposite. Well, that's my definition of poverty anyways. Essentially, not being able to recognize the opportunities that you have, the resources that you have, your capabilities. And in a sense, comparing yourself to others who might be out there in the corporate world or, doing big businesses. In terms of your question to do with, oftentimes people come over to Africa saying, hey, we want to support Africa. And then before you know it, they're actually supporting themselves. There really should be a difference. My role within the WBAF essentially is to connect Ghana, the whole economy of Ghana, to wealth finance. And the economy of Ghana, as is with any economy, is usually supported by the SMEs. Now, who is the SME? The SME is you and I, the person, baking, what do you call it, those, nuts, or, making clothing or making shoes, or you find them everywhere. You go to UK, the SMEs, the bakers, the butchers, they form part of the bigger bulk of the, what do you call it, structure that actually supports the economy. So it is the same, in my opinion, across the world. However, I think where things go wrong is either where people come in, it depends, first of all, is the underlying motive, right?
Sure.
Underlying motive, because it's greed. So people come in and they recognize, what, if my motive is to make money, all it takes is finding somebody who talks your language. If you're both greedy, you're going to make money, you're going to squander it. But also, if your motive is actually, I want to make a difference, I want to make an impact, you will find the right people who are also focused in that direction. So hopefully the difference we're going to make is that with my partners that I'm working with, that they already have structures in place, they have foundations in place. And just as anything else, to build a house, you have to have strong foundations.
Yes.
You don't just get up and start digging. You have to have an architect who understands how deep do you have to, dig. How wide do you have to dig? What kind of materials do you need to use because of the type of soil? So it's the same thing in business, or to do something of this scale. You need to have people on the ground who understands the culture, the system, the needs, what really is needed in that economy, because every economy has different needs when it comes to business or when it comes to supporting entrepreneurs, full stop. So if you have a partner who understands these and has got the right foundation in place, it's very easy then to build, because then it's leveraging global networks, whether it's corporations, the government, bring all of those together, including what I call smart money, which is investment. So angel investors, VCs, not necessarily commercial, the typical commercial banking type of money, but smart money where it's not just money. You get mentorship, you've got access, you've got distribution, you literally get a wider opportunity to be able to, I guess, trade more, make more money, and give more and impact more. So that is my plan, is that I've got the right partners in place. It's like having the best architect, having the best land, having materials, and it's essentially coming together and build, start building. If we need to strengthen the foundation, strengthen them, and then just start building, but not just building, i.e. focusing on the gaps, where is the gaps in the economy of Ghana. And from the last 3 days, it's very much, entrepreneurship, whether people believe or accept it or not. I've been in the car on the streets through Accra. People are, selling. It's business.
Yes.
And it takes somebody telling you, actually, this is business. You can make good money out of that.
Sure.
But how do you do that?
All right. So talking about the SMEs, I mean, the small, medium enterprises in Ghana,
Yeah.
there are a lot of them in the country. And if you look at the sector by sector, in each sector in Ghana, we have a lot of the small SMEs within the country or within the sectors.
Yeah.
Now, how do you use the smart investment to support these SMEs? Because one of the key things that we mostly observe or we've seen in the country is that there are a lot of projects going on to provide support for SMEs, but day in and day out there are a lot of difficulties.
Yeah.
So how do you use this smart investment, or is there any specific technique or any specific role that you think we are going to provide to assist these Ghanaian small these SMEs in Ghana?
I would say there's no magic pill. It's the same everywhere you go. You've got to have mentorship. You've got to have people who have the expertise, the know-how, to be able to actually stress test your idea, because not every idea is a business idea.
Sure.
Full stop. So stress your idea. Is it a business idea, number one? Number two, if it's scalable. If it's scalable, then yes, you're likely to attract an investor. However, no matter how wonderful your business idea is, no matter how scalable it is, if your attitude stinks, no investor is going to touch you, because I know I won't touch you. So you've got to have the best of both worlds, where you've got the mentorship, you've got the great business, it's scalable, but you as the individual, you're coachable, you have a great attitude that actually you're able to take advice, because if you knew how to do it and do it well, you'd have done it by then. But oftentimes that's what's missing, is like, hey, I've been doing this for a little while, I make a little bit of money, so I'm not going to listen to you. But even you take the big corporations, the big, multi-billion-dollar companies, they still have people, they still have mentors that they listen to, to make sure that constantly they're taking advice from the right place. So I would say, bring a mentorship or, expert knowledge, basically, as well as training and support around mindsets and really how to run a business like a business, being professional with the business. And then of course is preparing these businesses or SMEs or entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call them, to become investor friendly, so they're attractive to investment. Because if your business is not attractive, in the sense of you don't understand your financials, you don't know how money comes in, goes out, I'm not going to put my money in, because it's going to disappear and nobody's going to be able to tell me where it went. So there are pieces or components that is required to get a business to what we call investor friendly or investment ready. So those are the key things, is stress this in the idea, if it's scalable, yes, we've got a winner there. Number two is you yourself, your mindset, your attitude, how are you running the business, and then preparing you, making you investment ready.
So talking of mentorship, let's get more into mentorship now. A lot of foreign agencies come to provide mentorship program for people in Ghana and across Africa, but at the end, the impact is not what is expected. And I think one of the reasons why is because most of them don't include the local content. Let me give a practical example. Maybe if you want to go to my village where people are not educated and but they are into most of them into SMEs, how do you include local content to assist them in the mentorship program?
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of mentoring is that if you take mentoring, coaching, the different things, right? So the mentor is not there to tell you what to do. The mentor shares the experience with you, but in a way that you're connected, or it connects to you. Mentorship brings about change, okay? And nobody is going to change unless they're ready to change. When they're ready to change, it happens fast like that. So to be able to get results in a place like your village, I started secondary school in Swedro, which is it city, town? I considered a village back then, some 2,000 years ago. I don't even know where it is now, but there would always be somebody in the community that people look up to. Okay, so I would say you connect with those people, reach out to them, find out what is needed in your community, what are people selling. So for example, it's a community that they can grow banana, you're not going to mentor them on how to grow business, make oranges, because it doesn't even work there. So you have to do your homework to find out what is needed. For places like Africa, you have to be specific. Each area, each region has their own culture. You take Ackah, you take Kumasi, you take Cape Coast, Takrady, there's different cultures, different language, different way of life, and all those. So you have to consider all those. And then within the mentorship program, you structure it in such a way that the conversations that you're having, it's had in a way that taps into that person's way of life, how they've known life to be in a certain way. Does that make sense? And then you show them what can be. Not what can be as in, hey, what can be if you go to UK or London? What can be if you came to Cape Coast, for example, from Ackah, Australia? What can be if you got yourself to Takrady, to Accra, right? Because you've got to start that way. You start in your little place, go to city, national, and then you can think about Nigeria, within Africa, within Europe, then you're going global. But I think people think, oh, I've got to start, I want to be in, selling US. Well, you have to learn to sell in your city first of all. So.
Right. The informal sector in Ghana has a lot of the SMEs. Now, the other key challenge here is that the sources of financing is a key issue here. Because most, as I'm speaking to you right now, commercial banking is becoming a headache. Reason because interest rates are high. The least you can have is 25%. And how does a small medium enterprise go for a loan and just have you're supposed to pay back 25%, maybe just taking 1,000 Ghana cedis. So we've seen that we need a lot of financing, a lot of sources in financing our businesses. We've seen the micro financing not doing well recently. It used to be very good when we started years back, but between 2015, 16 to now, we are not seeing much. The savings alone we are facing a lot of challenges because there's no much credibility in. What I know, the angel fund, the venture fund, these are all other sources of funds that medium enterprises can access. How do people in Ghana access this kind of funding?
It's same as everywhere else. You know, you have to have a viable business. You have to have a scalable business. You have to have the right attitude. The number one thing any investor will look for before they put a penny in your business is your attitude. Can I work with you? Do I like you? Do I trust you? How easy is it to work with you? So those 3 in 1 things, if you don't have it, you're probably going to struggle to find money. So how to access it, I would say, is obviously find avenues such as, your organization where you get access to people who can look into your business and tell you, yes, this idea is great, it's a business, and then help you to put the necessary structures and systems in place to actually take it off the ground. So if it's a good idea, then you're looking at how do you scale it? How do you even prepare to go to market? Does that make sense? And then bringing in accountability, because you could be running a great business, but if you're not able to count, if you don't know how many customers did you make last year or last month, you don't know. How much revenue did you bring in? How much profit did you make? How much have you taken out? If you don't know any of these things, I'm sorry, nobody's going to put their money in. And this is standard. This is across board, whether it's US, UK, Europe, because I do it. My colleagues in my network, we do it. And frankly speaking, let's assume I'm your cousin. I've come to you, I want money. You're asking me these questions. I can't tell you. Would you give me money? No.
All right. But there's an issue because I want us to get more into the informal sector because that's where we've realized that there are a lot of opportunities in there. But in Ghana here, which everybody can testify, the informal sector, these are people that are uneducated. These are people that didn't go to school. By day in and day out, they are getting cash from sales. Now maybe there's a source of investment for the person to access, maybe through a venture fund. But this person doesn't know anything about proposal. He doesn't know anything about mentoring. How the potential in that specific sector of what the person is doing? How does this person access the particular opportunity?
Thank you for that. That's a very great question. Okay, so being uneducated is not an excuse. Simple.
Sure.
So you could be selling nuts, right? Before you set up in the morning, you know how many bags of nuts did you put in your tray?
Yes.
So if you're not going to even know how many bags of nuts you put in your tray, then you're in trouble, right? Because you'd have bought the nuts from somewhere. So if you bought the nut from somewhere, you fried it, grilled it, roasted it, whatever it is, you need to know how much did it cost me to buy the nut? And therefore, if it's let's say 500 grams bag of nuts for, let's say, 10 cities, right?
Sure.
And then I'm saying I'm going to divide this bag into 4, and I'm going to sell each one 2 cities. You're going to make a loss.
Yes.
So you need to know how much did I buy the bag for, and therefore how much am I going to sell it, how much are you going to price it. These are all simple, standard things any business should be able to do. So if you can't do that, it doesn't matter what it is you sell or how big or how small your business is, it's not going to work. So that's why I say being uneducated is not an excuse.
Sure.
Because we all do the same thing, differences on different scales, right? So to be able to access money, and it really doesn't matter what it is you're selling, because I tell you, there's a project I'm doing in India where we're working with rural women, okay? Now, it's the same. Probably sometimes worse. Some parts of India is probably worse than what we see here in Ghana. So what we're doing with these women is we come alongside and tell them, look, this, tomatoes or peppers that you're growing, if you actually grow it this time of the year instead of that time of the year, you might get 10 peppers instead of 3. Okay. Now, when you get the 10 peppers, normally you get 3 you have for your family. You can sell the other 7. Have you educated them? Yes. That's mentoring, that's training, that's retraining them to actually know, you know what? You can make money with the other 7 because you only need 3 anyway. So would they allow you to show them how to grow it so they can make 10 peppers? Yes, they will. When they do that, what we do is our company then brands it and make sure that it's food standard, worthy and all that. And then we sell it to the city woman who also wants to eat organically.
Sure.
But if you're buying from the supermarket, we all know everywhere in the world it's expensive. But if you can connect with, like, let's say, local butchers or local farmer, you probably get it less than what you'd get in the commercial supermarket.
Yeah.
So that's the ecosystem that we created, where we brand it, clean it, make sure it's not from pots to peppers to mango chutney to poppadoms, all of those things we sell them. But it's not supermarket. So you create that system or ecosystem. They use mobile phones to be able to sell it. Tell your sister in the city to say, hey, I've got some peppers. Do you need some peppers? Yes. My neighbor needs two as well, right? So there is a way to be able to show the women what can be. But it takes a bit of patience, understanding why are they not able to do it. Is it because they don't know? If they don't know, for example, that if I sowed my peppers a week before I normally sow it, that's when I'm going to be able to get the 7. That's what you need to show them. Or we can say, if you sow your peppers a week after what you're normally doing, that's when you're going to get more. That's what you need to show them. So you need to understand what is it that they don't know, because it's what you don't know that's killing you.
Sure.
It's what you don't know is what would hurt you. So you've got to know what it is that they don't know, and then you help them to understand. It's not forcing it, telling them, you've got to do it this way. You've got to show them, you know what, actually, there is a way. Would you like to make some money? Yes. So instead of, first, if you sold on the 5th, watch this, you're going to make 7. So, that's how you bring about the change, is letting them know what can be.
Nice. Let's look at sector by sector. Some of the key opportunities here.
Yeah.
I know agriculture is a major in Africa,
Yeah.
and if, for example, in Ghana,
Yeah.
agriculture is very key,
Yeah.
in spite of all the natural resources that we have.
Yeah.
What role is WBF looking at in our agri sector? Because it is still related to the SMEs that we are talking about here.
Yeah, I have some of my colleagues in the network are actually, they invest in the agro world, basically. And some as well, we know the majority of investors these days are drawn to the technology side, as well as, meditech, so medicine or health, if you will. But technology is like the lead. However, I was reading this, I was preparing statistics, and over 60% of investment, and I can pull this actually for you exactly so you can see, would be secretly, it was 60% of, I think, global revenues or investment would be, pulled in agriculture and then transport and construction. So agriculture is very important because it's the backbone for any economy that you take or explore. And we might think, okay, we don't have natural resources, but you can always develop agriculture. So role of WBAF, yes, I've got great colleagues who are already in that space. We can pull on their expertise, their knowledge, and their resources, their smart money, to be able to come in and help us to actually do it right, so that it's not just them, but they would also help us to pull in extra investment within their network. Because if I'm interested in agriculture and that's what I'm investing in, will I know other investors? Yes, I will. So if I'm part of making it right, then ultimately I know that if I invest, I will make money, which is what ultimately any investor would do. They put money into a business so they can get their money out.
Yes. Chile is doing a lot in terms of agriculture, because if you go to the southern part of America, they are producing a lot. Most of their produce is coming from Chile.
Yeah.
They've combined a lot of technology and the agriculture in terms of the agro businesses. Here in Ghana, we don't have technology because we are not born into it. It's something that we are gradually, it's becoming emerging.
Yeah.
Our Greek sector here, we have everything in terms of the natural agriculture business, but we need technology. Do you see the opportunity in bringing technology in these agro businesses so that we will not just produce and just take it out there, but we can, even in terms of packaging, in terms of a distribution from here to the last point, everything should be well done here. Do you see that opportunity happening here?
Absolutely. Technology produces or brings about efficiency. Number one, it increases productivity. So it doesn't matter what business you're doing. If you're serious about doing it right, doing it big, bringing investors in, then you've got to have the right systems. And some of the systems would include technology. So yes, particularly agriculture, you would need technology to be able to harvest on time, store it appropriately so you don't lose the harvest that you've done. So I would say technology probably is the number one thing that if you're looking into going into that sector, you need to look at what form of technology do I need? Do we already have that in the country, or where do I find it? And then maybe that is what an investor would be able to help you to bring in.
All right. Now, women empowerment back again. I'm sure there's an opportunity that I have currently in Turkey next year. I know you are part of a very big event coming up in Turkey. How do the youth or startups or SMEs in Ghana take advantage of that?
So thank you very much for that. Every year, and really starting this year was the first time that the World Business Angels actually opened their doors. We had the Take Investment Summit. So we invited startups from all over the world to come and present their business or pitch for investment. It was the first time that you could actually pitch within the WBF. So it was very successful. I personally took 2 startups. They were both Ghanaians, but they live in the UK, to the summit. And next year, it's normally in February in Turkey. So again, we have the opportunity to, bring startups to be able to present the business idea or actual business if it's already started, and to be able to pitch for investment. But like I've said, nobody's going to put, not even your own uncle or your neighbor is going to put money in your business if you don't have a few fundamentals in place. So what I'd recommend is, connect with an organization like your organization, whether it's Job Bank UK or the accelerator that is coming. Prepare yourself. Make sure your business is investor ready or investor friendly. Then you have a chance. Then you're in. You've got to be in it to win it.
What sector are you looking at, or is it generic?
It's broad. So we don't necessarily nail it down or narrow it down to a specific industry, because every industry is required, is needed, and you can't really take one out and leave the other. So as long as it really doesn't matter what industry they're in, but as long as the business is investment friendly or investor ready, then yes, they have the opportunity to be able to walk away with investment. In February this year, we launched a $250 million investment fund. Again, it's available, but nobody's going to give you money if you're not.
If not done anything.
If you're not done your homework,
So, in your estimate, how much do you see supporting Ghanaian businesses with your fund?
Nada.
because it's part of everything. Money is very important,
Of course, Mother Teresa said it does take a checkbook to change the world.
Yes.
So if you want to change the world, if you want to make a difference, you need money. You've got to be able to either make money to then be able to plow it back in, or you've got to be able to, bring sponsors in, investment in, bring smart money, bring anybody who's got money, kick them, scratch them, pull them in. But yes, there's no way you're going to be able to make a difference or make an impact with money. Likewise, if I had £1,000 or $1,000 or 1,000 cities, I will be limited in what I can do. Likewise, if I had 10,000, I would be able to do more than I can do with 1,000. Then you have 100,000, you'd still be able to do more than you can do with 10,000. Or so again, depends on what you want to do, and then you got to start. There's this quote that you don't have to be great to get started. But you have to start in order to be great. So if you're not started, you can be as passionate as a rabbit if you want to, right? But if I'm passionate about food or tea or coffee or chocolate or whatever it is, and I want to eat some food, no matter how much passionate I am, I have to get up and cook the food. The food is not going to suddenly decide, oh, Tina's feeling passionate about me today, so I'm going to drop off the cocoa tree and I'm going to turn myself into chocolate. No, you have to put effort, you have to put sweat in, you have to roll up your sleeve. So if you're lazy, you're not going to get very far. I don't like lazy people.
In the next 5 years, where do you see WBAF in Ghana?
Next 5 years, gosh, I'm thinking next 90 days, next 6 months, next 9 months, next 12 months, because you've got to get started, right? So in the next 5 years, my goal or my objective for Ghana is that we would be even more connected to the world, world finance. That we would have been able to, at a minimum, I have a very, very big short-term goal, and that is to reach 1 billion women. So in the next 5 years, we would have already reached 1 billion women, where we've financially empowered them in whatever big or small way. So 2 years after that is a bonus.
Wow. Then we're actually hoping to see whatever that you're saying will come to pass.
Yes.
But we are very much grateful for having you here in Ghana. I think you've gone through a lot, especially with the pre-selection of our incubator program,
Yes.
and we've seen a lot of ideas here.
Yes.
We're hoping to see that whatever that we've started will become a success.
Yes.
Because Ghana is the face and the center of Africa.
Yes.
And since you're Ghanaian, we believe you are going to champion Ghana a lot. But are you confident enough, as at now, to drive investors down to the country?
Absolutely. I wouldn't drag my bottom to be here if I wasn't serious about it. It's what I've been doing, for a while, and I see the impact that's going on. I always say, go where you're going to be celebrated, not tolerated. Before coming back home, because I didn't really have the network, or the network basically, all the people on the ground that I could trust, I could work with. So I have to do my homework. So we started, doing this in India. Charlie's gone July, and from small town, putting a fashion center in, helping these women to go into Mumbai and Maharashtra, Guwahati, putting other training centers in, people on the ground, making produce and all that. And so I know it works. I know without a shadow that it works. And now, I'm very fortunate to have, you as my business partner, being down, seeing, the work that you've already done, which I call the foundation. It's a very solid foundation. And so we're ready to build, essentially. So why Ghana? Because I'm Ghanaian and I've done it, in the other side of the world. It works. I see the difference. There are women here as well. And like I said, my grandma played a big part in my life growing up, including my mom, and a few other ladies as well. So, I thought this is home. So come back home and, find the right people, connect the right dots, find the right foundation, build on it. So I'm excited.
Yes. And are you open to government? Because I think government is doing exactly what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But the current government is trying to look at the PPP, the public-private partnership.
Yes.
So I don't know, is your organization open to work with government if the opportunity is given, or you're close up?
Shall I tell you something funny? The one government I want to be related to is President Trump. I don't know how he's running the United States with 160 characters on Twitter.
Wow.
That guy is a genius. So I don't know how. I don't like Twitter very much. I use it, but he's running a whole country, the United States, on Twitter. So that's just a joke. I think I want to get to know him and spend some time with him. He can teach me how to use Twitter to, run an economy. Yes. Yes and no. No on the basis of I don't do drama, I don't do politics, because it gets messy. And, one fancy I remember is me paying Gwase. So, I will be open to it. We will be open to it. The WBAF, we do work with government agencies, government, departments all over the world, because the truth is, it's all, the different parts of the body, right? Different parts of the body, the arm, the nose. We need all of those to function as a body. So yes, we're open, but not on the basis of, politics. That is a big no-no. Not allowed, not accepted, never will happen. However, if the government is doing, projects like you've mentioned, the PPE, where they recognize the need to be able to pull in other experts and other resources such as WBAF, then yes, it does make sense to connect and collaborate, because this is the gateway to the world finance. So if you're a government and you say, we're not interested, we're not going to do it, then that's a crazy move. You want to be part of the world finance, and the way to do that is to recognize, we're all different parts of the same body.
Thank you very much for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Your last word to Ghanaian entrepreneurs.
Ghanaian entrepreneurs, I had some great business ideas, and it was interesting to know that there was one lady that stuck to mind. She has a brilliant business idea, but she didn't think that it was anything, right? So the minute you have any idea, find somebody, talk to somebody. But whatever you do, you don't have to be great to start. You have to start to be great. Get started.
Thank you very much for coming, Miss Tina. This is Eon3 Radio.
Thank you.
The only online radio station. We are happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much
and
for
hoping
having me.
for the best.
Absolutely,
Nice
and all the best as well. Thank you.
Yes. So together with myself and my team, the team of Eon3,
Yes.
led by Richard Furata, we say a very big thank you to you, and also for our viewers for listening to us live on Facebook and on Instagram. We're happy. And if you're an entrepreneur, there's a big opportunity for you. So we will share most of the opportunities on our Facebook pages for people to have access to, or whatever they want to do in Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Baba God, I thank you.